Hey everybody, I wanted to talk for a minute about the red-white cycling deck that is kind of the new boogeyman of Ikoria draft, and a lot of people talking about it, a lot of people not forcing it or leaning into it or looking to get into it. And it's a really interesting time to have added human drafting to Arena because we're going to figure out how good the self-correcting meta is at adjusting to a deck like this. And for those of you who have not played a bunch of the format, we're talking about a deck that is between 12 and 14 lands generally, is full of probably 5 to 10, over 5, under 10, like cycling payoffs, like the things that really pay you for cycling stuff. And then really like the rest of the deck, 1 and 2 mana cyclers, plus maybe a handful of other, just a couple of other cards here and there. But basically, it centers around like Snare Tactician and Prickly Marmoset as common creatures that are rewarded by cycling, and Zenith Flare at uncommon that is like a Lightning Helix Fireball, basically for 4 mana by the end of your. So many games are being won right now by Zenith Flares to the face for like 15, and so I've been thinking about this archetype and what is making it the boogeyman, and what is making it, in my mind, a little different from typical problem decks of the past. I have no idea, like, I'm really curious to see how the bots handle this. I may do some bot drafting of this set just to see where the bots land on the cycling deck, because it reminds me a lot of the Eldraine mill deck when we were in bot land, where when the bots didn't care about the mill deck, you basically drafted the mill deck or regretted not drafting the mill deck, because you would just see the pieces get passed around and realize, oh, there was a nuts mill deck there that I just didn't take. And people caught on to that, and pretty soon the entire meta of Eldraine draft on Arena was centered around the mill deck, until we complained loudly enough that they tuned the bots to prioritize the mill pieces, and then the mill deck was impossible to get. Then you couldn't. And I kind of like that format. That might have been my favorite Eldraine format, which is Eldraine in which the bots make nobody allowed to have mill. I actually enjoyed that. But here's the thing. Here's what I'm getting at with that comparison. The thing with the mill deck as a combo deck and other combo decks of the past is that, like, take Spider Spawning for another classic. For those of you who don't know, you go look it up. But Innistrad had a very combo-y deck around the card Spider Spawning. The key with the mill deck and the Spider Spawning deck against humans is that as soon as there was like 2 people going for it, they train wrecked each other. 2 people going hard for the mill deck in Eldraine and 2 people going hard for the Spider Spawning deck in Innistrad created 2 medium at best decks, depending on what's open. Obviously pack contents are going to drive all of this, but on average, right? On average, those 2 people would end up with medium decks. The problem with this new boogeyman in the cycling deck is that I think 2 people at a pod can go hard into this deck, and with average pack contents, both end up with excellent decks, not just medium decks, excellent decks. I think it takes 3 people pushing for this deck before it cracks and they end up with medium versions of it. And I think that, like, now this is, I don't have statistics to back this up. It comes from my sense of what the deck needs to function at a competent level and the rarity and frequency of those pieces. And the fact that there's all these common payoffs. You've got the Stinger, the Tactician, the Marmoset as common payoffs, all these uncommon payoffs, the 3/1 uncommon that makes dude when you cycle, the Zenith Flare, the Dinosaur Aura or enchantment. There's all these, there's so many payoffs, and the nature of the cycling deck is that you don't need a lot of other stuff. You just need those core payoffs plus a ton of cyclers, right? So it is not hard for you and me to basically go into this draft thinking we're going to force cycling, and each of us get enough of those payoffs and enough of the cyclers to have decks that are not just medium, but they're actually great. Oh, Fox. Yeah, I totally forgot the Fox. I mean, the payoffs are deep and many and common and uncommon. And so I think that's the real heart of my concern about how this deck is going to impact this format and impact even our memories of this format. I think the fact that any pod with average packs seems like it can easily support 2 red-white cycling players, I think is the big problem. I think these types of decks are easy to self-correct when 2 players in them produces medium, and we're in a spot where 2 players in it still produces excellence. And if I'm right about that, I think it's going to be a problem throughout, because every one of your human pods is either going to need 3 cycling drafters or is going to have 2 oppressively good cycling decks, or maybe not oppressively good, but 2 very good, two very not fun to lose against cycling decks. So that, and right, and so that's the thing, you know, there's almost no way to escape it. Your best case scenario is that 3 of your 7 possible opponents are playing this deck, and if you're not, right? That's your best case scenario, because if the scenario comes to pass where only 1 or 2 of your 7 opponents are playing this deck, you're going to lose to them. Or you can be in the deck. And so that's where I wanted, so both to finish up this discussion and to see where I went and why I'm on my paid account, I thought to myself, all right, Luis has said Luis LSV, I still haven't read his tweets, but people on yesterday in chat were saying that Luis has been heavily playing red-white. I don't know if he says he outright is forcing it or basically forcing it. But yeah, cycling is discard. It is discarding East. Anyway, so I thought to myself, well, okay, what does a force look like? And I was like, all right, I'm going to bust out my paid account, and I'm going to start on that account just outright forcing the cycling deck, and just make that what I'm doing on this account, and seeing how my results pile up over time on Ikoria, forcing the red-white cycling deck and seeing how it changes over time. And let me tell you, I hope it changes over time, because if it goes anything like my first draft, we're all in trouble. So let me show you how my draft went yesterday. I go to left monitor here. I'm going to minimize this, pull this out, and then we get... All right, so this is, here we are. Here we are, 5 picks in. And here was my start. Oh, this is only 5 picks in. My 6th pick, the next pick that comes here has a Snare Tactician. So my picks went Prickly Marmoset, Snare Tactician, Zenith Flare. The Zenith Flare was 5th. And then I got past a Snare Tactician. So this is me forcing this deck. And then, so here's what I'm talking about. And this is what I'm talking about. Here we have pack 1, pick 8. I'm already passing Marmosets because I have 2 Marmosets, 3 Snare Tacticians, a Zenith Flare, and I've picked up a random cycler. But I have a cycling 1 and a Marmoset to pick from. Like, somebody else is going to get the Marmoset and be quite happy in their cycling deck, right? Oh, but wait, it's me. Because look, pick 11, I get another Marmoset. And I'm still just, look, in between that and pick 11, I picked up Ambush, Lava Serpent, and Crystal. And Wilt. So I've picked up a couple of generic cyclers, a great 2-mana cycler, and a 1-mana cycler, and I get a Marmoset. And then here's where I want to hear from you, chat. Check out this pick. So now here we are, pack 2, pick 1. And we have Flourishing Fox, Splendor Mare, Snare Tactician, Draneth Stinger, and a Cycling 1. So I'm curious what you're taking, both in the abstract. Like, if this were pack 1, pick 1, what would you take? And given our deck, what would you take? And is it different? Because we have 3 Marmosets and 3 Tacticians at this point. So that could affect you, but I'm curious what people would take here. Yeah, I took Fox. Okay. I almost posted this to the internet, like I almost posted this to Twitter, but then I just decided it was actually too easy, that it was just Fox. I mean, the thing with Fox is it has cycle 1 and it's an incredible payoff that you can play on turn 1. Like, I think Fox might be maybe Snare Tactician. Yeah, it's even better. Like, I'd rather just have a deck full of Foxes and cycling 1s than Snare Tacticians. These just go nuts. Flipperoo disagrees. So what did you say, Flipperoo? I didn't catch your chat. Did you suggest something else? What are you taking here? You're not taking the Fox. Stinger? I see. Yeah, Stinger was the choice, right? I felt it was with our tacticians and marmosets already covered. It was for this deck definitely either Fox or Stinger with a sad wave of the to the Splendermare. Anyway, moving on. I just wanted to call this out too. Like, I'm getting a pack 1 pick 10 Clash of Titans that I'm not even going to play. Like, if there had been a cycling card in here, I would have taken it. And then now I'll go back to the game and show you the final deck. Oops, here, home. So I'm 2-0 with it right now, and here's where we ended up. Also, I hear that there's no sound here, and I'll get out of your way. Here. So I think this deck is bonkers. I wasn't sure how much land to play. One of the last changes I made was going from 6/6 tap cycle, so 13 land with one of them cycling, and then I think I had a random, like, I think I had a random 2-mana cycler in, like a crystal. So I think this is where I played my first game. And then after game 1, I cut a crystal and added 1 land. But I'm not sure about that. I felt like with the cycling land, I could just almost treat this like a cycler, and then I was still more of a 13 land deck anyway than a 14. So that was my thinking there. But it just feels... Yeah, Leosaur was interesting, but we're not really, like, we're so human oriented. This is not really mutating. So this is like a hard to cast bear. Like, where are we mutating this? On the Fox or on marmosets? Like, there's a Fox and there's 4 places realistically where we can, I mean, yeah, maybe Lava Serpent, but I'm not planning on that. We only have 4 places that we would mutate this, so then it looks like just a 2/2 for 2. Off-color cycling, then 2. I found these reunions to be amazing. I definitely want 1. I wasn't sure about 1 or 2, but my feeling about 2 is very similar to like looting, where if you do end up with 2 in hand, you can cycle 1 to the other. But it does, you know, this is a total legit thing as well. Anyway, we don't need to, I'm not going to play this. We didn't draft it together, but I'm just saying, like, I decided to force it and got the immediate hookup. Like, I didn't have to force this. This is exactly the deck I would have drafted. I think maybe the Marmoset pack 1, pick 1 was a bit of a force, but everything after that was just, why no arrow? Because we don't need it. Like, why do you want an arrow? We have 4 Snare Tacticians. I've come around to Luis's point of view on not running removal in this deck, because these Snare Tacticians are your removal. Fire Prophecy, too good. Swallow Hole, too good. Like, these hyper efficient removals, I'm willing to play, and not conditional. You know, I don't need them attacking or whatever. But arrow just doesn't, like, I don't need, they're never going to attack or block because all their creatures are always tapped. Yeah, and this is also pseudo cycle, but that's not even why. Like, I would run this for its efficiency, even if it didn't do the cycling thing. But yeah, it really does help with the, it kind of does a reunion trick. So I mean, I could play this, but I'll save this. We'll come back to it if there's time today. I wanted to show you what I was doing with that, with forcing the cycling deck, and talk a little bit about the cycling deck and my fear for it. Because my big fear is that it is so easy to get a high caliber deck in the archetype, even if there's somebody else doing the same thing, that it's quite a prisoner's dilemma of how hard to push towards red-white cycling in the current format. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see how it shakes out, but I did want to express my reservations about the nature of this particular archetype's seeming dominance in the format, and how it's reading to me a little differently from the dominance of other kind of combo-y archetypes we've seen in the past in limited Magic. So anyway, well, if I do play some of this deck, what I'll do is cut out the middle part coming up, and I'll splice it to the end. So if we do play any of this, I'm sure you'll see it shortly. And here you go, YouTube. As I said, we might play out some games on this, and we are. So here you go. You get some action with the very forced red-white cycling deck that we were talking about there. So let us go in here. I'm forcing as an experiment on this account. I don't recommend forcing anything, but I recommend you strongly be aware of how powerful the red-white cycling deck is and what cards are worth getting into it for. I don't recommend forcing anything. I recommend being highly aware of what the best decks in the format are. And I also don't recommend you showing up and telling me I'm forcing things. I'll tell you when I'm forcing things. D. Well, this is really weird. I never see 4 lands in my cycling deck hands. We do have 2 copies of Cathartic Reunion in the deck, and two cyclers here. I don't know. What do you think about keeping this one, folks? Yeah, Fenrir put it nicely, because it's one of those two things. You should be loosely forcing it, but be ready to bail if it's not open, or not even loosely forcing it, but being very ready to move into it if it's even slightly open. All right. Only one person has offered up a keep or mulligan choice here. It is the fact that we only have 13 lands. So there's 9 lands left in 33 cards, and 2 of those 33 cards are Cathartic Reunions. So I am actually going to keep this. We have mulligans. We have cycling. We're fine. It's the double Cathartic Reunion, too, that makes me know that we can deal with Flood. To that end, yeah, we'll figure we'll cycle that eventually. Yeah, 7-1 climb. I don't know, Maze. You're playing something approximating Magic. Oh, did I get a donation I missed? Maybe it happened while I was away. Or maybe I'm not getting the audio cues you are. If someone donated me, thank you so much. I missed it, but I really appreciate it. There's Tactician number 1 of 1,000,000. But I'm still going to cycle that charge. Whose cycling deck is better? Let us find out. Or whose cycling deck is going to produce the win in this particular game? Hey, look, I know that dude. That's our MVP of our 7-win run we just completed. Yeah, we'll tactician it. Although, no, actually that was a mistake. I regret it immediately. I should have marmoseted, because next turn I can tactician, land, and cycle for 1. Dummy. It was exactly the opposite sequencing. I just think of tactician as being important to get going, but it was not the correct sequencing there. And that's rough too, but this is where we get to swallow it whole, so that's not bad. Looks like my incorrect sequencing is going to work out okay. Because we're just going to swallow this thing whole and tap the marmoset. And even, well, these have lifelink. Do we care? I'm going to say, I'm going to attack because I want to encourage them to attack back. I want to encourage them to not have defenders. That's why I'm doing this. It's basically 2 for 2. How highly do I rate Swallow Whole? Quite highly. I don't understand how late I see this card go. Yeah, you need a creature. It's just that it's only 1 mana and it does so many things you want. It exiles. It makes the creature bigger. You know, between making the creature bigger and exiling for a mere 1 mana, I really like it. No, this isn't. We have a lot of payoffs, but no raptors. We're all marmosets and tacticians in this deck. And I'm going to play 5th land and marmoset, and we have double cyclers. What's going on here? Oh, it's that human, non-human, indestructible thing, huh? Okay. That's pretty cool for them. Anything we can do about that? We can cycle and get it big, but they still get to deal their 4 back, so there's nothing here that's going to stop it. That's a really nice use of 1 mana. Good on Oppo. I still like where we're going here. We're going to lose a marmoset here. Does it make it... Oh, sorry. I thought it was on them, not us. I can't remember if they keep +1/+1 counters. If it's just that they get indestructible and we lose our marmoset, okay. We one mana'd. Gets +1. Okay, good. They don't keep the counters, so I'm okay with this. One of these games in this format, we are going to hard cast Footfall Crater because it's going to win us the game on the spot. Let's keep an eye out for that. It's one of my life goals for this format. Remembering what this card actually does and hard casting it at some point when we need to. Yeah, this cycling deck I think is pretty nuts. Our last one was merely okay. I guess I can't cast this at all. I'll start here. Looking for action as much as anything here. I think I'm going to hold off on the reunion until we get another basic land in our hand and then get rid of both of those. And I'm just going to cycle the Triome here to tap stuff down. What you got, Oppo? We're going to cycle here. Tap down the Sarge. We got good blocks and everything else unless they have tricks. If they swing out, I'll respect it. We only have one tactician right now and 16 life, so I'm more concerned about our tactician than our life total. Well, there's a reunion I can pitch to the reunion if we don't find a basic on top. If I get a basic on top, I'll still go reunion 2 basics, because we'll probably end up with more basics to pitch to the reunion, and we'll draw nothing but spells, effectively, all game long. Lava? Well, I'm going to go with reunion, pitching, plains, and reunion. And now I'll play land number 6 for the eventual Lava Serpent plays, but cycle Snare, cycle Crystal ahead of starting that seems good. And also, no, we can't hard cast the Snare. I was thinking maybe there's ways in which we could use the Snare effectively. I mean, we got the Crystal, so I could have, like, cast this and actually cast the Snare, but that's not worth it. We want the cycling. All right. Was thinking about casting a Serpent, but with a second Snare Tactician, we're going to start double tapping with cycling on at least one of these. Let's get the Zenith Flare higher and higher and higher. Go for blood. I mean, we could just throw the Zenith Flare out now. And counter their go for blood, get their big flyer, and gain a bunch of life. They're at 26. It's not like we're going to Zenith Flare to their face for the win exactly. I'm going to do it. But then we also don't have any... Like, they get to attack with a bunch of stuff. Do we care about that? I'm going to do it. I want to save our... I think saving our tacticians is that important. Yeah, they get to swing a bunch of stuff, but we got 8 life out of the deal. Bring it. They didn't even attack anyway, so that's amazing for us. We got to take out this rescuer before it does too much additional work. If we cast and if we cast an attack with this, they have like triple blocks to kill. I'm gonna keep it all again. I'm gonna probably cycle one of the serpents, see what we draw, and then fire prophecy the rescuer. But I'm gonna wait and see if they... I guess if I'm gonna do that... Yeah, I want to do it like during their upkeep. Before they draw, but after it's their turn, so we can do some tapping. So I like this here. Tapping this and this with the intent to prophecy the rescuer. Man. I could prophecy the rescuer, but I should just cycle the ambush and see what we get. We might find a land with it. Did I tap him the same one? Oh, that was a misclick. It moved him around on me. What do you want from me? We used it to save a fight target, but that's just UI. There we go. That's what I was looking for before doing this. Pretty good. I'm just gonna keep both of these and play the serpent this time. They haven't flared any of our creatures. They've gotten a lot of healer life. And currently 10 cards in library to their 20. So we got to get on this and get 26 done awfully quickly here. And to that end, I'm going to offer everything, including straight up giving up a tactician to the Thunder main if they want to. I don't even need to cycle and swing. I'm just going to swing, and we'll cycle on their turn. Cycle 2, then we can play Tactician, draw another Cycler, and tap 3. We tap 2 and then tap 3. Like, we're so thick with cycling, we're very likely to just tap 5 creatures before our next attack. It gives them lifelink attacks. Maybe I should have tapped down their lifelinkers, because that's really where the race is at. But yeah, I didn't think they were going to be attacking anyway, right? All right, I'm going to look very carefully now. First kitty, and then that got pushed out because it was targeted, right? So we're targeting this kitty. I did it right this time. Shocking, we've got 2 lands in hand? How did that happen? Well, sending everything, seeing what we can do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, I can just look. We have 2 lands left in our 7 cards. So 5 and 7 to draw action. And the action we have left includes Valiant Rescuer, a cycling card, another Snare Tactician, a Marmoset, and another Lava Serpent. So we have 2 cyclers and, well, Valiant Rescuer cycles as well. So we got some mixed media stuff going on in that front. Here, we're just going to go ahead and try and take out the thing we can actually kill. Alright, is this dead? I really didn't do the math on a coordinated charge, but I figured... Must block. Lava Serpent, 10, 11, 12... How about Exaxes? Y'all into Exaxes? Oh no, they got a life. Look at that. I got cocky and we lose. So who hates me right now? Now you can feel good, right? Got cocky and lost. Good game, Oppo. Close one. What would you have done, Nebula? Would you have not gone for it? I mean, you can punt me, but I want to hear your alternate line before you punt me. But what? So then you are you cycling to tap on their turn? Yeah, D just loves to punt. I do not believe that D has a line. D just likes to punt, but I don't think if you come up with a better line, okay, maybe there was a conservative line to take, but they were top decking. They were a cycling deck, so it's pretty fair to think they might top deck a cycling, but it had to be one. It had to be a cycling one. Yeah. So you can punt that, but I think if you're not going for it there, you're probably losing more than you're winning. Yes, 2-1 is the record. But it doesn't even count because we lost to another cycling deck. It's tough, D. I don't have any great answers for you. There's various heuristics out there, but I would say you don't want to shave... Like, I want to have at least 5 or 6 one-mana cyclers before I would go to 14. But once I go to 5 or 6 one-mana cyclers, and I have lots of support from other 2-mana cyclers, I like 14, 13. No, this is 13. I wish I had some perfect vision into exactly how the mana is supposed to go in these decks, but I'm just playing it based on my gut a little bit. And I think that's too extreme, Buckeye. I think 3 cycling 1 is... I don't think that's enough context. That's an okay place to start, maybe, but how many, like... Yeah, see, I don't know, I kind of question that as a good rule of thumb. I don't like a rule of thumb that does not take into account what other cycling you have. Because 5 one-mana cyclers and 10 2-mana cyclers versus 7 one-mana cyclers and 2 2-mana... Like, they're all... There's a lot of differences there, so I'm a little wary of blindly adhering to that. Interesting spot here. We can go for a snare tactician or ensure some value on our rescuer by cycling these. I think we ensure value on rescuer. I think that's where we start because we don't have anything to tap down with the snare tactician anyway. Let's see. Am I risking... I don't know what flashy stuff might get us here, but I don't think there's anything for blue-red, so I'm going to do it. And I'm going to cycle the thing I literally cannot cast. See if there's maybe something we want to cast instead of a cycle. There's not, so we're going to cycle. Although we're close to hard casting Lava Serpent, but I'd rather get the dude out and dig deeper for our better cycling payoffs and for our Cathartic Reunion so we can pitch these extra lands. Hodge likes Tactician setting up next turn. My thing, Hodge, is like if we find a 1-mana cycler, like I don't know, I think we're just like with Swallow Whole, like we have no problems here. If they play a creature, we get to tap it down and then swallow it whole. All right, 2 creatures is a little annoying. I grant you that. And that's a little annoying. That's a good turn for them given what we've started with. Yeah, that's true, Hodge. I stand by it. I mean, I didn't know they were going to do this. This is a great thing for them to do against specifically what we're doing here, but... Now we've got Tactician. We're not using Swallow Whole this turn anyway, but we're going to cycle on their turn. Actually, I'll offer both of these soldiers. Who cares? You want it? You got it. Offering the human and not the dino suggests that maybe they have some mutate coming up, which is fine with me because we'll tap it and swallow it whole if they do something incredible with the dino. Kind of sad they didn't go for a big mutate. And I'm not worried about Frost Links, so I'm going to just tap the attacker. Doesn't really... I guess I should have tapped Frost Links. They weren't going to attack into the Snare Tactician, but if they had, I wouldn't have blocked anyway, so that's the thing. I didn't really think of this as a blocker. Really, the tapping just didn't matter there much at all. Here, play a 5th land and have a couple of cycles ready. We're going to do 1 now, so we get the dude on this turn, and then another next turn for the dude on that turn. Still tap and get in here anyway. Keep all this. We can fire Prophecy away this mountain. But right now I don't care about either of these cards, so waiting for Oppo to do something I care about. And this account is so low in rank, by the way. I'm silver on this account because this is my paid account that I hardly ever play anymore, so I've just fallen down to silver. All right. I don't like that they're making a bunch of stuff that trades with the Rescuer, but we have a bunch of 1/1s that we're making for a lot fewer resources, card resources, than Oppo is. And no reason to let him have the Frost Links attack, even though I'm not into using the Fire Prophecy on anything I see here. Yeah, one of the well, it depends on what you're playing for, but if you're just playing to try and win, a benefit of multi-accounting is that your lesser used accounts tend to fall down to the low ranks and the ranked drafting is easier. Again, that's not necessarily a good thing if what you're trying to do is improve at the game, though. The thing is, I don't care about... It's almost like I don't care about tapping anything right now. But I'm still going to get rid of this triome here. I'm going to send everything but the rescuer. Should payouts scale with rank? That gets too complicated. I don't think so, James. I think you just make your... It's more important for you to communicate successfully and simply to your player base about what things cost and what you get out of them. The more consistency you can provide there, the better it is for players to grok your whole system. All right, can't do anything about the tactician getting blown up here. And I don't care about tapping anything, so we're going to let this happen. And I'm trying to figure out if I want to play another Plains. I'm going to say yes. I know we have Cathartic Reunions lurking, but I like 6 mana for the eventual 5/5 Hasties. And this allows us also to Fire Prophecy and go for blood if we need to. Unban everything. Let's figure out what the real best deck in every format is with no bannings. Just going to let them attack if they want, as observed. I mean, we don't have a tapper anyway, but now I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this Frost Links because our soldiers can actually attack, but not through a Frost Link. So weird, not exactly a premium use of the Fire Prophecy here, but it keeps our attack going, and they're at 10. So let's keep it going. Convolute. Yeah, you got it. I am going to make another Deuter, though. Find another Snare Tactician. We can tap the links anyway. With some more cycling. Or we draw Coordinated Charge and LOL. That's another option. I'm going to do both of these in case we want to cycle and coordinate. But I think we just get there depending on how they block. Almost. We get him to 1, and I am going to cycle the snare, make one more creature, one more token. Oh, in fact, with the way they blocked, we get to keep the rescuer even, so that's awesome. All right, they cast Double Strike to still take that Rescuer trade. But we're looking awfully fine here. Smasher not doing it. And the Tactician for the rub-ins. A good cycling deck is something else. We went nose to nose in the cycling mirror and narrowly lost, and everything else I've played with this deck has felt easy. I am thinking I'm going to leave it there today, though. So, Mike, you hang on to your red-black sack deck. I do want to see it, but let's check that out tomorrow. I'm going to go have a bite to eat. Time for me to have some lunch. Let's go to a soapbox view. A little taste of that deck there for you. A little taste of where cycling is at. So again, to wrap up, where I'm at with cycling, I think one of my viewers put it best. I think it was Fenor, who's like, either you should be going in kind of forcing red-white, but then looking to bail if it's truly not open and to slide into something else, or you're looking to not quite force it, but really be looking for the signals that you need to be jumping into it. I don't think I'm passing a pick one Zenith Flare again in the format, and I don't think I'm passing uncommon level payoffs in cycling, barring a ridiculous rare and mythic bomb, you know? So that's where I'm at. We'll see how we feel about this format in the end of it, with the oppression of the cycling deck looming, and we'll see if 2 drafters at a table is enough to dampen it enough to not feel like it's oppressive. We'll see. Anyway, it's fun to play. It's lousy to lose against. Bye, YouTubers. Thanks for hanging out with us.